Hello everyone, I'm JG. Welcome back to Music Forever, where today we'll be doing an album review for the new album from Dying Fetus, Wrong One to Fudge With. Wait, that's not the album title. Dying Fetus are easily one of the most recognizable and most well-respected bands in the whole, technical death metal community, I guess you could say. And, I was looking forward to this album. I've liked their recent outputs, and with this album particularly, I was a bit interested with what they were going to deliver, given just the artwork and the album title and the use of the old logo on the album artwork. I was just a bit interested by it because, of course, they have the old logo there. They have this kind of, silly album title, I guess you could say. Just, I think it's a bit silly, to be honest. It kind of feels like, a super tough guy kind of album cover. Though I bet they were kind of joking when they decided to name their album that, given that they are, like, a very brutal sort of technical death metal band. And the same can go for the album artwork, which is just kind of course, over the top and things like that. I was kind of wondering if this album was going to have a bit of a throwback sound to maybe something from the band's earlier days, given that they were using their older sort of logo. But I really don't think that's the case here after listening to this, the final product here. This definitely does feel like, the natural progression of this band, kind of coming off of their last album, which it has been a while since we've gotten an album from these guys, so I am happy to get something now. From the opening, just insanely technical and brutal guitar parts on Fixed on Devastation, the first track here on the album, you pretty much know what you're going to be in for with the rest of this album. It's a great opener to this project. It introduces you perfectly to the atmosphere of just the entire album, and it encapsulates pretty much everything that you're going to be getting here, as well as a lot of what Dying Fetus really is at this point in their career. It's a great track and an excellent way to start off a very good project. And throughout this album, we get to see a lot more crazy technical and brutal guitar parts, as well as drum parts, bass guitar parts, obviously, thrown in throughout the mix. Your typical technical death metal sort of stuff that you would expect from Dying Fetus at this point in the career. However, they deliver it with a very fine-tuned precision that would only come from a band this far into their career that is still delivering quality albums. I think that this album overall is just very solid, to be honest. I don't think it's one of the band's best albums, but it is very solid. And there are a few things, however, that do mix up the typical formula. Take the track Reveling in the Abyss, for example. It appears earlier on this project, and it is one of the longest songs, it is the longest song we see here on this project, and it's one of the longest songs, I believe, in Dying Fetus' entire discography. I know they do have other songs that are around the same length, but they don't exist in a large number. Tracks this length in their discography are fairly rare, and, the band takes full advantage of this time that they're given to really show off some really good instrumental parts as well as vocal parts. By the way, the vocals on this album, just, your typical brutal, barely intelligible, delivery that you would expect from a technical death metal band, and they're just great all the way through. It matches up with the atmosphere of the project and just provides a very, sort of brutal, in-your-face feel to these songs. But back to Reveling in the Abyss, which is probably my favorite track here on the album. I also like how it manages to incorporate some groovier moments into the instrumentation, into the guitars and things like that. Some groovier moments also pop up on other tracks here in the track listing, such as Seething with Disdain, the track that follows it, as well as some of the other ones. And I enjoy it when this happens because it does provide some change up from, the technical riffs and things of that sort. It's just a nice change of pace throughout the album. Overall, all the major points I want to touch on with this album and aspects about the album I think I've already touched on, given that a lot of the tracks here on the track listing sound or have a similar sound to them. That's not to say that they're repetitive or, same, I guess, sounding and that they're structured similarly and things like that. It's just that they have that same similar, technical death metal sound to them that you would expect from Dying Fetus at this point in their career. And chances are, if you're a fan of this band, that's kind of what you're expecting going into this project. Now, if you're not a fan of this style of music, maybe you will find it a bit repetitive and things of that sort, but, chances are you're going to like it if you're a fan of this band because it doesn't exactly, veer off in some crazy new territory or anything like that that's going to make, half the fan base jump ship or something like that. If you like Dying Fetus, chances are you're going to like this album. It's pretty much what I would expect from this band at this point in the career. In 2017, the production on this album does allow for, a rougher edge in these tracks, but does sound better than the band's earlier releases, of course. It's kind of a nice mix between allowing, the aggressive side of this group to kind of come through with through the production. If I could speak today, that would be really nice. But, yeah, back to what I was saying. But it also allows for, you know, a bit better of a sounding track than some of the band's earlier outputs, which had a bit of a rougher sound, in my opinion. So yeah, if you enjoy Dying Fetus, you're gonna like this album, like I said before. But if you don't like technical death metal, you don't like Dying Fetus, this album isn't exactly gonna change your mind. Overall, I think it's a very good album. Not my favorite output from this band, not the most interesting output from this band, but definitely a very solid one in my opinion. So if you're a fan, check it out. You need to. If you enjoyed the review, I'd greatly appreciate if you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for future album reviews and other music-related content, as well as movie reviews. Also, what are your thoughts on the album? I greatly appreciate seeing them in the comment section down below. Leave your thoughts on the project. Thank you for watching again. Subscribe and stay golden.